Hello, everyone. Have you ever thought of how fast a wheelchair can go, especially a power wheelchair? And have you ever thought how far they can go, or how far you would want them to go, or how fast you would want your wheelchair to go? So, these are all important questions we're going to address today. And of course, I'm going to add some comments there in safety because that's how annoying I am. So, but anyway, I found some interesting articles, and let me see if I can bring them up. There we are. How fast do motorized wheelchairs go? So here we go. For the most part, I know that wheelchairs usually go for 4 miles per hour, which is about as fast as a person can walk, or 4.5. So, just looking at the alarm here. So, yes, they can go about 4 miles per hour. Some go 3.7. So, it just depends. However, some people say, I want to go faster. Question is why. But we'll just talk about speed and then I'll talk about safety. There are some wheelchairs that they are making for them to go faster. I'm not sure why, but we'll talk about that later in the video. There are wheelchairs that can go 7, they can go 8, they can go 11 miles an hour. Some of these faster wheelchairs are purchased by those who need to get from point A to B, point A to point B. For instance, college students who are going from one campus to another, and they really need to get over to the other side of campus for a class. And these are students who can't walk. So they do request wheelchairs that go faster than 4 miles per hour. And, they can make them up to about 11, 12 miles per hour. So you have to look at your needs. Some people say, well, I need a faster wheelchair because sometimes, it starts raining and I need to get into the building and I just don't want to be clunking around to get inside at 4 miles per hour when it's pouring down rain. So that's one reason, if you're a college student and you need to get to places, or if you are concerned about the weather. And those are kind of reasons why you would want a faster wheelchair. Now, let's talk a little bit about safety. Number one, the harder you push your wheelchair, the harder you're pushing your battery. So that's something you really need to consider, that even if they can go faster, you're going to run down that battery faster, unfortunately. And if you run out of juice, you're going to get stuck. And then it's going to take quite a while to recharge that battery. So that is a disadvantage of the faster wheelchairs. And you have to consider that. Another thing that you need to consider is that you're going in a chair on wheels. You are in an open space. You're not wearing a helmet. And if something really goes wrong, you're going to go flying. So wheelchair and all. So there are some dangers there with the speed. And that's something to keep into consideration. Or if something goes wrong with the wheelchair, or if something crosses your path. So there are some dangers that can occur. 4 miles per hour is not bad. I can keep up with the fastest walker. I don't think I would want to go faster because sidewalks are not quite in the condition they should be in, and roads aren't either, and never mind parking lots. So to go faster, I do turn up my speed when I'm crossing the parking lot. However, I'm cautious because I don't know what I'm going to run into. And how far can a wheelchair go? And usually it's about 6 to 10 miles. But you have to consider how fast you were going, what the terrain was. If it was hilly, if it wasn't. So it just depends. And you have to be cautious with your battery time. So you have to kind of figure that out. Okay, my batteries can go this many miles. So if you go that extent, you're not going to be able to get back. So you really have to divide that in two and make sure, my wheelchair, I think, can go 15 miles, and, but I don't want to run the whole 15 miles because otherwise I won't get back. So I can do, 6 and 6 or 7 and 7, but I wouldn't push it beyond that. So wheelchairs can go pretty far, and if you're in college or if you are a person who's pretty busy and needs to get downtown and come back, or hopefully downtown is not too far. Also, you have to consider the weight. So there is a couple of things that you need to consider when you're looking at wheelchairs, especially power wheelchairs, is the weight, is the speed, and the distance in which that wheelchair can go. And all of that taxes, how much is that going to tax the battery depending on the trip that you need to make. So those are all considerations, and you can talk to your therapist or to the person who's selling you the wheelchair and kind of get some thoughts on that in terms of, is this the best wheelchair for me? Is this the speed I want? What is the cost of that speed? So you got to look at all that, because the faster and the farther that wheelchair can go, the more expensive it's going to be. So, of course, you have to look at your pocket. You have to look at what the insurance will cover. And maybe it's not a concern. Maybe you saved up your pennies and you can afford it. So, you can put those extra pennies towards, a good strong hauler, as we call them. So that's all I had today. You can think about the speeds you want. I'm happy with 4 miles an hour, and I'm happy with the 15 miles it can make. I don't think I would be going 15 miles, so I would say 5 to 6, depending on my energy. And so usually I'm pretty safe. So consider it. Just know that those are the general numbers for speed and distance for power wheelchairs. For manual wheelchairs, it just depends on your tolerance and how far you are able to go, the condition of your arms, the condition of your shoulders. I understand that an approximate speed, depending on the terrain, a person propelling themselves can get up to a good 10 miles an hour. So that's pretty fast. And of course, if they're going downhill, you got to be careful. You got to hold on to those wheels so you don't, go too fast, because a manual wheelchair can flip over very easily, especially if those small casters get stuck in a crack or something. You will go flying. So with the manual wheelchairs, you've got to be careful. And of course, they will go as far as you have tolerance. So you don't want to wear yourself out going just one way. You have to consider that you have to go back the other way and get home. So you really have to think about your distance and how far you are physically able to go with a manual wheelchair. And you'll have to practice a little bit and see what is possible for you. All right. Any questions? Put your questions down below, and we'll be happy to answer them. Have a good week. Bye-bye.